So if you've been keeping an eye on Oceanside lately, you've probably noticed a ton of changes recently. There's hundreds of millions of dollars going into new stuff, thousands of new homes popping up, and the whole area is changing in a big way. It's becoming one of the most exciting places in San Diego County to live and work. And today I'm really pumped to talk about these huge changes because honestly, what's happening in Oceanside right now is totally different from anything we've ever seen before. So let's check it out. Okay, so here's the thing. Oceanside has changed a lot. People used to make fun of it and call it Ocean Slime, which honestly wasn't very nice, but that's old news now. Now, downtown is totally transforming. What used to be just parking lots and empty spaces is turning into a busy, walkable city center. And at the heart of it all is Mission Avenue. That's the main road that goes straight from the freeway to the beach. What's really cool is how planned out everything really is. It's not just a bunch of random buildings popping up all the time. This is smart growth, the kind where you can live, work, hang out, and get around without needing to drive everywhere, which is kind of my dream. And the timing is perfect. Mission Avenue just got a big upgrade. There are wider sidewalks, stuff to slow down traffic, and even more green spaces. All of it connects the new buildings and makes it easier for people to walk around. It's like the city got everything ready and now the builders are stepping in to finish the picture. And the best part is everything's close together. You'll be able to walk from your place to a restaurant, head to the beach, then catch a train to San Diego or Los Angeles, all without driving. And that's pretty rare here in Southern California, and it's one big reason why Oceanside is such a cool place right now. So now let me show you some of the big projects changing the game, starting with one that's super close to the beach. But first, if you're thinking about moving anywhere in San Diego, make sure to subscribe. I talk about everything from fancy beach homes to cool up and coming neighborhoods like this one. I also break down what's happening in the market and what it could mean for you, so you don't want to miss what's coming up. All right, first up is the old Regal cinema spot at 401 Mission Avenue. This place is getting a full makeover thanks to JH Real Estate Partners, and it's going to be a big deal for downtown Oceanside. So here's what's coming: 332 apartments in a 7-story building that's going to totally change the vibe on that corner. They're also adding spaces for stores and restaurants. On the ground floor, there's going to be 20,000 square feet split between places to eat and shop. But there's a lot more than that. A 1,200 square foot rooftop restaurant and bar. Honestly, rooftop dining in Oceanside sounds pretty awesome. The building will have 595 parking spaces, both underground and above ground, with separate spots for residents and businesses. Plus, you can walk to the beach, the pier, and the transit center. This is what smart, transit-friendly development looks like. And here's something pretty wild. When I break down the numbers later, we're talking over 100,000 square feet of new retail space. That's going to reshape the local business scene in ways people haven't even considered, but I'll get to that in a minute. But what makes this project even better is how close it is to everything else downtown. You're just 3 blocks from the beach and the pier, so people living here will have easy access to some of the best stuff in North County. The Oceanside Pier is one of the largest wooden piers on the West Coast, and being close enough to walk to it is pretty cool. The new shops and restaurants are going to bring way more life to this corner. Right now, it only gets busy during events or movie nights, but soon it'll have people walking around all day, every day. And that's good news for nearby businesses and a big step forward to making downtown Oceanside feel more alive. I do have mixed feelings about this one, as I'm a big movie fan myself. I always wanted to be able to walk out my front door and catch a movie, so I'm a little bit sad when I ever see a movie theater go out of business. Okay, now let's head down the street and check out another big project that's taking up a whole city block. So 801 Mission Avenue is a huge project, a 7-story building that takes up a whole city block. It stretches from Mission Avenue to Clementine Street to Seagraves Drive to Nevada Street. They're building 230 apartments, plus around 5,400 square feet of space on the ground floor for stores and offices. But what really makes this one stand out are some of the cool design features they're adding. So check this out. They're putting in an elevator that lets you see the ocean as you go up. So that's pretty cool. There's also a big outdoor courtyard with places to sit and barbecue, a fitness center, a co-working space, and even a surf room. Because let's be real, this is Oceanside and surfing is just part of everyday life here. Up on the roof, there will be a pool with amazing views of the ocean, a recreation deck, and an indoor lounge area. The apartments will be a mix. Some are studios, some are 1 bedrooms, and some are 2 bedrooms. So whether you're living solo or with a family, there's something for everyone. But wait until you see what's happening with the public-private partnership at the transit district. They're rethinking how housing and transportation fit together from the ground up. More on that soon though. Now, parking can be a big issue in busy areas like this, but they're building 322 off-street parking spots plus 40 more on the street. That's more than what the state asked for, and that's great news for locals that hate the parking struggle downtown. The size of the project is what really makes it important. When something takes up a whole city block, it doesn't just add homes, it becomes part of the neighborhood. Since there will be stores and offices on the ground floor, this place is going to be active all day long, not just at night when people get home. But I've got to say, I'm pretty excited about that surf room. It shows that builders really get what Oceanside is all about. Between the ocean views from the elevator, the rooftop pool, and the space for your surf gear, this place is built for that beach lifestyle. Next up along Mission Avenue is 901 Mission, where JPI Properties is working on an 8-story mixed-use project on a full city block founded by Mission Avenue, Orange Street, Seagraves Drive, and Clementine Street. The spot is super smart because it gives more housing options to young professionals and families who want to live close to downtown amenities and community spots. They're planning around 260 172 apartments plus courtyards and rooftop areas with views. The project is still under review right now, but it's another big step in how Mission Ave is being totally reimagined. And speaking of smart development, just wait until you see how Block 5 and Block 20 solve the parking problem. They're turning those empty lots into something that finally connects the entire downtown. But I'll get to that in a little bit. What I really like about this location is how it's going to connect residents with downtown. With people living right on this block, it'll be easy to walk everywhere. And that means more people out and about, which is great for nearby shops and restaurants. This is going to be one of the tallest buildings in downtown Oceanside, so the rooftop views are going to be pretty awesome. From the top floors, you'll probably be able to see all the way to the ocean. That alone will make the place super appealing for people. JPI Properties has done a bunch of mixed-use properties all over California, so even though this one isn't improved yet, I'm expecting some pretty creative features. Now let's talk about something a little bit different, a public-private partnership that's totally changing how transit and housing work together. Over at 810 Mission Avenue, the North County Transit District is partnering with a private developer to transform its current headquarters into a mixed-use project. They're planning to build 206 apartments alongside a brand new office building for the transit agency. So here's what's going on. NCTD is moving its offices from the site over to the new Oceanside Transit Center, freeing up prime downtown real estate for housing while still keeping transit services right in the heart of the city. And once you see what the transformation means for the future, you'll get why other coastal cities might start copying it. Now this project is part of a much larger Oceanside Transit Center specific plan to redevelop the 10-acre transit hub with a mix of residential, retail, office, and even a boutique hotel, creating a true intermodal destination. But what's really smart about this public-private partnership is how it preserves and upgrades transit facilities while adding 206 mixed-income apartments, 15% of which are reserved as affordable. Instead of underused offices, the site will bring more residents downtown, boosting foot traffic for shops, restaurants, and local businesses. And because this is a collaboration between NCTD and its development partner, there will be tighter coordination on infrastructure. New roads, bus lanes, and pedestrian pathways ensure seamless connections between homes, transit, and the rest of Oceanside. It's a prime example of smart urban growth that benefits everyone. Alright, so now let's get on to the big one. So let's talk about the full redevelopment of the Oceanside Transit Center. This was approved by the Planning Commission in June 2025, and it's set to completely change the way people experience downtown Oceanside. So here's what's coming. 547 apartments spread out over a huge 10-acre site. There's also going to be a 170-room boutique hotel, a 59,000 square foot office building for the NCTD, and a brand new modern transportation center. And that's just the start. They're adding nearly 29,000 square feet of shops and restaurants, up to 1,768 parking stalls for public and private use, a central plaza, and public art installations. So this isn't just another development, it's about creating a full experience, a place where people actually want to be. And they're doing it in 2 phases over about 7 years, which makes sense for something this big. Site 1, called Tremont, will include the hotel, transit center, and those 547 apartments. Site 2, called Mission, will bring in another 206 mixed income homes. But what makes this whole thing so exciting is how everything is super connected. You'll have train services like the Pacific Coastliner, Metrolink, the Coaster, and Sprinter all in one place. Add in housing, shopping, dining, and a hotel, and you've got a full-on mobility hub. It's the kind of smart, all-in-one development that city planners always talk about but never seem to accomplish. So when you mix in a 170-room hotel with great food, shops, and the beach just blocks away, it turns this whole area into a real destination, right up there with any other spot in San Diego County. Now, I know what you're thinking, 7 years might sound like a long time, but with a project this complex, it shows they're serious about doing it right. They've got to keep transit services running while building homes, offices, shops, and a hotel, and splitting it into 2 parts means we'll start seeing real changes even before the whole thing is finished. Okay, now let's check out the final wave of development that's going to bring this downtown transformation full circle. The Block 5 and Block 20 sites are the final big step in downtown Oceanside's transformation. Ryan Companies is taking on these 2 projects, which will replace surface parking lots with 373 new apartments. Block 5 will be an 8-story building with 193 apartments and 2,200 square feet of space for shops or cafes. And Block 20 will be 7 stories with 180 apartments and 3,500 square feet of commercial space. Both buildings are designed to make the area more walkable and will help bring life to the pedestrian underpass near Pier View Way. Now, I get that some people are worried about losing public parking, but the developers are including 545 parking spots for residents and around 39 spots for retail customers. They're also placing shops at street corners to make things more inviting for people walking by. And what I really like about these projects is how they're turning empty parking lots into spaces where people will actually want to hang out. So instead of blank spaces, we'll have new homes, new businesses, and more people walking around, which is great for local stores and restaurants. Now, these 2 blocks are part of a bigger plan that's been in motion for many years, and the fact that they made it to the final pieces shows how well the plan has worked. Every new building has helped make downtown stronger and more appealing, and that's attracting more people and more investment. And the underpass near Pier View Way is also getting a major boost. Right now, it can kind of feel like downtown is split up a little bit, but these new buildings will help tie everything together. Whether you're living in one of the new apartments or just exploring the area, it's going to feel a lot more connected and easier to walk around. All right, now that we've covered all these big projects, let's talk about what this means for the future of Oceanside. So why does all of this matter? Let's break it down into 4 big ways these changes are going to impact life here in Oceanside. First, we're getting a lot more housing. These projects are going to bring thousands of new homes to downtown Oceanside. That's a huge deal for a city that really needs more places to live, especially close to jobs, the beach, and public transit. Second, everything is being built in a way that supports walking and using transit. All these projects are super close to the Oceanside Transit Center, which connects to the train and bus lines all across Southern California. Mission Avenue also got a big upgrade. They got wider sidewalks, safer crossings, and more green space. So walking around downtown is going to be way easier and a lot nicer. This is how you give people the option to live without a car. Like I mentioned before, it's pretty rare here in San Diego. Third, this is the great news for small businesses. These new buildings will add over 100,000 square feet of space for restaurants and shops. That means more places for locals to open businesses and more customers to keep them going. With thousands of new people living downtown, that's a lot of foot traffic and support for the local economy. And fourth, this one's huge, that we're turning downtown Oceanside into a true live-work beach town. And with all the new homes, jobs, transit, and places to hang out, people can live, work, and play in the same area without driving all the time. And being close to the beach and the pier just make it even more appealing. This is the biggest change Oceanside has ever seen. We're talking about turning it into a model city for smart growth on the coast. Now, over the next few years, as these projects go from planning to construction, downtown is going to keep changing and improving. But this isn't just about new buildings. It's about how the city, developers, and transit agencies are working together with one big goal in mind. Oceanside is showing how a beach town can grow in ways that make sense, adding more housing, helping small businesses, and staying connected to the community's roots. And as more people move in and more businesses opening up, nearby neighborhoods are going to feel the impact too. Property values may go up, services will grow, and the whole area is likely to see more attention and investment. It's the kind of ripple effect that can really change a city and maybe even inspire others to do the same. But of course, here's the flip side. With all this new development, Oceanside is going to face some growing pains. More people downtown means more pressure on parking, traffic, and public services like schools and utilities. Longtime residents might also feel the squeeze as property values and rents climb, which could make it harder for lower income families to stay. And while the city's working to keep its coastal character, some folks worry that the rapid change could chip away at the charm and slower pace that makes Oceanside special in the first place. Growth brings opportunity, but it also brings the challenge of making sure everyone benefits without losing what makes the community unique. So that's a wrap on the biggest new projects coming to Oceanside in 2025. What's happening here is something we've never really seen before, and it could help turn downtown Oceanside into one of the top beach spots in Southern California. We're talking about tons of money going into new buildings, thousands of new homes, and a whole new way of thinking about what it means to live and work by the beach. So if you're thinking about moving to North County, San Diego, now's the time to keep an eye on Oceanside. These developments are going to reshape the entire market, and I'm excited to see how it all plays out. So send me an email at bern@off-to56.com, and let's talk about your goals and how these changes could impact your next move. And before you go, don't miss my next video. It's linked right here. I break down why so many people are leaving San Francisco and LA for San Diego, and the reasons might surprise you. Thanks for watching. Catch us next time. Bye.